I'm waking up.
All right, folks, well, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a maintenance day. I've been meaning to put this video out, but I haven't had a chance to because of the 2 fishing trips that we took since my starter went bad. So if you watched that video 2 weeks ago where the starter literally just died on us, it just failed to come on, and we tried pretty much everything while on the water to try to get it to kick in, but it just wouldn't work. Guys.
Yeah.
My main motor isn't coming on.
What? What'd you just say to me?
I said my main motor's not coming on. We tested the solenoid on the water. You'll see that. And we also tested the starter itself using a 16-ounce weight to knock it as hard as we could knock it while trying to get the starter to crank. And it just wouldn't do that. So, small one. Well, that's cranking over.
You ready for me to try to jump the solenoid yet?
Drop the solenoid?
Jump the solenoid.
You want to try it?
Yeah, with those pliers.
Is that big enough?
No, those big ones that you had. Yeah.
So I'm going to remind you guys that this is a desperation move. You'd never want to do this if your starter's good or if your solenoid is good. That's obvious. But if you were desperate, you only have one motor, and the only way that you can get yourself off the water safely is to try to test whatever you can test, and this is the trick, and that is to bypass a solenoid. So that's what you're watching here. Is we're taking the 12-volt lead that comes from the battery terminal, and we're jumping that 12-volt lead to the other side of the solenoid, bypassing that solenoid to verify if the solenoid is good or bad. So that's what you're seeing here. I'm also going to add that if your starter cranks, your solenoid is the problem. If your starter does not crank, then you can guarantee that the starter is the problem. So it's either the
Turn your
solenoid
key to on.
to on. It's on.
To on. Oh, this isn't long enough.
Not long enough?
No.
Okay, so
I need something that's wide enough to jump the two sides. Oh, that might work. Yeah. Shock the shit out of me. Ready?
ready.
Is it in the on position?
Hold on. Hold on.
Is it on?
On. So it's a starter.
It's the starter.
Yep.
Frozen.
Here we are. I'm going to be doing a starter replacement. I didn't get a whole lot of footage because it was a quick job. So I'm going to do the best that I can to kind of explain and narrate the way through the starter replacement by showing you exactly which bolts to remove, which cables to avoid, and such. So if this video is helpful, subscribe, like, share, and let's get started. Let me show you how it's done. It's easy. Oh, by the way, the mechanics are going to charge $600. So if you are mechanically inclined yourself and you're willing to do this, just be careful. This video is meant to just show you how it's done, but you still need to be extra cautious and careful when you're doing this on your own. So this is more of a guide than it is a step-by-step. So if you have a boat similar with OceanPro 200, I think this is still valuable for the 100 to 150 horsepower range. It might even work for 250, I don't know. But I have a Johnson 200 horsepower, and most of them are pretty similar. So this should give you a really good idea of how to do your own if you should ever run across a situation like we did. So anyway, let's get started. All right, so I finally got the starter delivered from Amazon. And so it looks like an exact match. It should be 4 bolts, 5, 6, and then we'll go ahead and pop this sucker in. Let's get it done. All right, so we got 2 cords. Okay. negative. And that goes to this. Ground goes to ground. So we're going to replace that back. So we're going to go 2 bolts off. 2 bolts off. That comes off. Put these cables back. And then we'll replace the solenoid. So before I get a nice buzz, I'm using my multimeter to make sure I don't get shocked. Just verifying that power is off. It really is off, and that shows me 0 volts. So 12 volts isn't a whole lot, but it'll give you a nice little shock, and I don't want that. So that's validation that there's no power coming out of this. So that's good. It's safe to move forward. All right, just documenting the cable pull. Got a washer that covers that. Okay, this is the power. It's not hot. This is the ground. All right, if all goes well, all the bolts, 4 of them, should come right off. Here we go. Yeah, baby. The old one is out. That wasn't so bad. It is like a 5-minute job. There we go. And what I always like to do is put them side by side just to validate the sizing is accurate. And it looks like a spot-on replacement, so pretty happy with that. Let's go put this guy in. All right, so I did have to steal this negative post off the other starter, but that's easy. So pop that off and then put it right back in here. And that is all you got to do. Piece of cake. Tighten it up and then put everything back. And once the cables are back in the order that they came out, then I'm going to replace the solenoid so I don't have to deal with that later. So I got a brand new starter installed and then a brand new solenoid. Sweet. I'm going to test it shortly after. So I'm documenting the cables that need to be pulled from here before I finally take it off the existing solenoid with the new solenoid. I'm on a roll. New starter is already put in. Alrighty, now I got the starter installed, the solenoid installed, all the cables back, verified everything is connected. Ground, ground, power, 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 ground. 4 bolts. I'm ready to start this engine up. Let's go see if this starts. All right, well, here I go. I just got done replacing the starter and the solenoid with it. So they're both brand new. So let's check it out. So we're going to put in the on. Okay, that's a good sign. Pump it or prime it, and here we go. If it cranks, that's a good start. Hell yeah. Yes! Back in business. One more check for good luck. Works. Well, that does it. That wasn't so bad. We're ready. Well, there you have it. As I said, I wasn't lying to you guys. I did not get a whole lot of footage, but I do hope that whatever footage I was able to get, that I could have provided you some sort of guidance in looking into your own motor. The majority of the work, again, is fairly easy. It's just making sure that you got the right terminals, that you've identified all the proper cabling, the positive terminal, negative terminal, the 4 bolts that hold the actual starter in place, and then the 2 bolts that hold the solenoid in place. And then there's a rubber round, I'm going to call it a shock absorber, that you need to also capture from the old solenoid. And then you need to take the old negative post from the old starter and put it onto the new one, if yours didn't come with one like mine did. So when all is said and done, It was a fairly easy job. The only other gotchas is to make sure that you're testing with the multimeter, that there is no power going to the starter or the solenoid prior to beginning to do any work at all. That's for safety reasons. If you'll notice, when I showed you my terminals, multimeter leads negative and positive, I was testing both ends of it. So if you're testing from the battery terminals positive, you'll get a reading of 12 volts. If you test on the other end of the solenoid with the key in the off position, you should get a 0 volt reading. But if you have it in the on, you should get a 12 volt reading, only if the solenoid is good. So in my example, I was testing both ends from the battery and through the solenoid to make sure that I was getting either 12 volts or not 12 volts. But again, my video shows my leads in a position where I included additional information to make sure that if you're testing, your most important place to test is from the battery leads. Like I said, I did not get a whole lot of a video from this install because my hands were obviously working, but yeah, so if you enjoyed the content or if you have any questions, let me know. And I hope that this did bring some value to you. And if it did, please make sure to like, subscribe, share, and any boat fixing things that I do in the future, I'm going to also include as part of my my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that it helped. And most importantly, now I will see you on the water. See you guys.